Hello, my name is Dr. Luke Bell. I'm lecturer in molecular horticulture at the University of Reading in the United Kingdom. This is a screencast of material originally made available for the module Principles of Horticulture and Crop Production from the years 2020 to 2025. Please note that some of the details may now be outdated.
So by the end of the screencast, you'll be able to describe the process of plant senescence, explain the difference between annual, biennial crops and perennial crops, describe how processes of senescence and death can be slowed in the harvested produce. So senescence is the final stage of plant development before death, and it's a phase that most, if not all, of the horticultural crops go through in one form or another. It occurs most noticeably in annual and biennial crops. These types of crops flower once and then they die. However, fruit trees, for example, like apples and pears, these are perennial plants and crops, and the tree can flower multiple times over successive years. So it goes through a period of senescence every year. And that kind of period of senescence is what we know and are quite familiar with in the form of the season of autumn. So every year the plants will shed their leaves, and this results in the colour changes we see in the trees. And so fruit trees, for example, will also undergo this period of senescence. They then go on to regrow in the spring. So this is essentially a process of resource reallocation by trees and perennial crops. So the nutrients and sugars which are stored within the leaves during the spring and summer months are withdrawn from them back into the stems and the trunk and roots of the plant, and this acts as a energy reserve for which the plant and the tree can then draw upon for growing in the following spring. And this happens year on year. The colour changes that we see in the leaves, so like in this image here, what happens is the chlorophyll, which usually makes the leaves look green, is degraded and reabsorbed into the plant, and this exposes these different yellow, oranges, and red kind of colours, and this is caused by compounds present within the leaves at all times of the year, in the form of carotenoids and anthocyanins. So these are fairly common compounds which are present in fruits and vegetables as well, for example. So carotenoids, the orange kind of colours, are responsible for the orange which is in carrot roots, for example, and anthocyanins are also present in many leafy vegetables, and also in the fruits such as blackberries and blueberries and things like that. So the process of senescence is usually also a trigger for abscission of the fruits. So this is what happens when the fruits sort of naturally fall from the tree. This process itself triggers changes within the fruits, which causes it to become either more red, for example, in the case of some apple cultivars. It changes the taste and flavour properties, so it makes the fruits more sweet. And it can also make the texture of the fruit different. So while on the tree, the fruits may be quite hard, but then once they fall and start to and ripen, they become much more soft. So obviously, fruit growers aim to harvest fruits such as apples and pears and things before they reach this sort of state where there are colour changes and textural changes to the fruits, as this maximises the length of time they have for getting the fruits to the consumer and ensures a long shelf life before these kind of detrimental changes take place, such as the softening of the fruits. So once a fruit falls from a tree, the senescence process is sort of still ongoing within the fruit, and so this has to be kind of slowed down during storage in order to extend its shelf life. And so one of the ways of doing this is by storing the fruit for very long periods of time in cold environments. And this is done in apple production on an industrial scale and allows for effectively year-round supply of fruits such as apples. So in this picture here you can see bins of apples stacked to the roof of a warehouse, and the typical kind of storage period for apples is anywhere from 9 to 12 months. So often what we think of as being a fresh fruit supplied to our supermarket shelves is anything but. It's probably spent the best part of a year in a warehouse waiting to be sold. Senescence also presents a very different kind of issue for fresh cut leafy vegetables. So things such as lettuce and in this case, in this picture here, rocket leaves. So once the leaves have been harvested from the plant, the process of senescence and death starts almost immediately. And so one of the problems with leafy vegetables is that they have a very high respiration rate, and so that causes the leaves to degrade very quickly after harvest. So in order to prevent this kind of degradation that we see here, the yellowing and the browning of the leaves, cold temperatures must be maintained from the point of harvest, and that can be quite a difficult thing to do, especially in very hot countries where leafy salads tend to be grown, such as Spain and Italy. So by cooling the leaves down, this reduces their respiration rates and slows the metabolic processes which are controlling senescence. So even though these leaves have been harvested, they are still alive, but are slowly sort of senescing and dying. And so maintaining cold temperatures is the primary way in which that degradation is delayed. So in summary, all plants have a process of senescence which precedes the death of the plant. In the case of perennial crops, this could extend over many years or even decades, as the plant is capable of flowering multiple times. However, annual and biennial crops flower only once and then die. So senescence precedes or coincides with fruit maturity and is the point at which commercial harvests might take place. And senescence and death can be delayed in fruits and leaves and different vegetables post-harvest by maintaining cold temperatures.